Because as soon as you have financial independence, whether you're a working woman or a homemaker, and a homemaker is also a working woman, I mean, you just have to have that understanding with your partner. Because with financial independence comes choices. Hi, Merril.
Hi, Konkona. It's an honor to meet you. And how are you and your family doing in these crazy, surreal times?
I mean, not bad. I have to be grateful for what we have, and better than so many other families. But thanks for asking. I hope you do.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very grateful that everything is, peaceful right now. But so a little bit about me. I'm from Team SHEROES.
Okay.
So SHEROES is the world's largest women-only social network. So we are a safe space for women to build their financial and social identity. We got We have about 22 million members, and our community is really excited to see you in the new web series, which is Mumbai Diaries 2611.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy. Sounds like a fantastic thing, SHEROES. SHEROES as in heroes with an S?
Yes. The word was first coined by Maya Angelou, and it really stuck. And that's. I mean, she sort of gave an identity to that word.
Yeah.
But yes, it's S. Heroes with an S.
Yes. I mean, as opposed to she arose, like she rose.
So yes, it's just like one word,
Yeah.
So it's sort of become like an identity now for a lot of women.
Lovely.
In a way. So anyway, I mean, congrats on the launch of the new series. I'm really looking forward to it. And maybe you could give us a little peek of, what the flavor and focus of Mumbai Diaries 2611 is.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's my first web series. So I mean, I'm quite excited about it. It's also a show that we're very proud of. It's a show that is, set against the backdrop of 2611, but it's fictionalized, This show really deals with the inner workings of the hospital, of a government hospital in Bombay General Hospital. This is, about the lives of the doctors and the nurses and the ward boys, the administrative staff of the hospital, all the worlds that intersect and collide there, the patients, the police officers, the media who comes in to cover it, because the terrorists do enter at one point, and the hospital is under siege at one point. I'm playing a character called Chitra Das, and she's the social services director of this hospital. She's someone who's not a doctor but has a medical background, and she's also unusually, for the kinds of roles that I play, somebody who's plagued with self-doubt and not a woman of substance or a very typically strong woman right from the get-go. She has her own issues from her past, unresolved things that she's trying to heal. And, she's also, a frontline worker. She's also a first responder in this situation. And I think that post-COVID especially, we have a newfound respect for first responders and what they go through, because I don't think anybody is really trained to deal with such unprecedented circumstances. So in this show, we're really dealing with the lives of these people. So it's an homage to frontline workers. It's them dealing with their own demons, battling, the inadequacies of, a government hospital, as well as dealing with the whole big event of the traumatic event of a terrorist attack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the show is going to bring back a lot of memories as well for a lot of people. For me especially, I remember the day, the day after those attacks, I was returning from Delhi to Mumbai, and it was the first time I didn't see a soul in Mumbai airport. It was really shocking. What were those? Do you have any memories of that time, which you sort of like helped you also, play this role?
I actually was not in town. I was not in Mumbai at that time, but I came back a few days later. We drove back a few days later because we had just driven out of town. And to begin with, it was so horrific when we were just getting the news, because in the very early hours and early days, it was very unsure that what exactly is it. There were multiple locations, so we didn't even have we didn't have a handle on it. that what is the scope and size of this event and how contained is it. So there was a lot of confusion. It was very frightening to figure out what is safe, what is not, even driving back to Mumbai because it went on for a few days. And when we came back, there was also this kind of very hush. There was this hush over the entire city. There was a very, there was a heavy silence. And there was a kind of disbelief in everybody. And we were, I think, all in a state of shock that something like this could have happened in Mumbai, and we were all so united. That was, noteworthy at that time, that all of us, whether it was somebody you met in an elevator, your neighbor, or somebody on the street, and it was almost disorienting.
Absolutely. I mean, just talking about it is giving me goosebumps. So really looking forward to the show, and especially the focus, as you say, on the frontline workers, as well as the medical system as well. You also spoke. I remember, a couple of days back, I saw a short film featuring you. It was called Nayantara's Necklace, and you mentioned that this particular role is very different from the ones you play otherwise. But I mean, you seem to be like somebody who can essay any kind of a role. So do you take inspiration from real women around you? Like, how do you build that up in your character?
Two things. And my own process is something that has gone through some change. It keeps evolving, changing. It's not like I'm always consciously thinking about it or anything. But two things. One is, I do feel that we already have all the people and all the emotions within us, and it just lies dormant. So in my daily life, I may be accessing only a certain part of myself or certain phases of my life. But I feel we've all gone through the basic emotions. I mean, everybody, regardless of man, woman, gender, religion, caste, I think we all have some basic emotions that we go through, the ups and downs of life, whether it's loss or love, betrayal, anger, whatever. So to play a certain character, I find that sometimes I try to find an overlap between my character and myself. It's a very weird and interesting process because, your body is on loan, to somebody else, which is such a weird thing. It's almost like a pregnancy. Your body is on loan. And some of it is, of course, intuitive. I mean, it's not all thought out and planned out. And of course, rehearsals and prep really help me. Look tests and, practicing and rehearsals, discussions, all of that really help. I also find it useful to kind of try to pinpoint somebody like that in my real life. Somebody, very vaguely based on somebody real, to kind of give it a little more concreteness, so that, I'm not always doing anger as myself or loss just as myself, But this is something I'm working on. The other thing I do, and I caught myself doing, is that I sometimes tweak my own reality, my real life, as per my character, which is a tricky and dangerous thing, and I wouldn't recommend it. Because, I find that if I'm supposed to do a scene where I'm very upset, for example, and I've been having a great day and I've not been having an issue. So even if something small happens, which may not have really upset me, I may let it, and I'll let it upset me, and, so I can get into that kind of a zone. Like sometimes I'll do that, and tweak my own reality a little bit in accordance to my character's circumstances. That also I find very helpful.
Right. That's very interesting. And those are two amazing quotable quotes, your body is on loan and the emotions are within you. I saw another interview.
Discoveries.
Sorry,
no, I'm just saying they were happy discoveries.
Absolutely. I remember you also said in another interview that, you're not so focused on material things, but you always focus on trying to be you. But that's pretty hard for like a lot of women with so many societal impositions, right? So how do you channelize and focus on being your authentic self?
I find it difficult to be otherwise. I think it's perhaps because of my very privileged and unconventional upbringing. I was brought up by mom, my mom Aparna Sen, who was a single mom and a very unconventional, unusual mother, who gave me a lot of space and respect and trust as I was growing up. And also seeing the examples of so many strong women. I also don't really know exactly who I am or what I am, or that I'm going to remain like this. I mean, it's a process. I'm a work in progress. We're all evolving. We're growing, hopefully. But it is difficult. One thing I found is that you can always or often one can be honest and truthful and authentic and still kind. Like I think like you can be angry, but you can be a nice person while being angry. I mean, not that I'm able to do it all the time at all, but that's the goal. It's also more difficult to not be authentic self long term, because then you're like, there's some niggling thing. It doesn't sit right. So it's actually easier to, and you find that other people also respond to you better. Other people can be their authentic selves. You're giving everybody the space to be themselves then, So that's really how it's worked for me. I don't know how or why, where the mental makeup comes from.
Well, more power to your mom and you and all the strong women around you. Definitely we need like role models. I remember, you in your film Wake Up Sid, there's this very lovely scene about financial independence. So, I mean, I just wanted to know from you, we've got a lot of women in our community who are taking their first steps towards financial independence, like either by starting a small business, their first time internet users. What is financial independence achieved for you?
I feel it is the key thing in feminism, or just trying to live an equal life. It is the key thing. Maybe unfortunately, but I mean, that's what it boils down to, because as soon as you have financial independence, whether you're a working woman or a homemaker, and a homemaker is also a working woman, I mean, you just have to have that understanding with your partner. Because with financial independence comes choices. So you don't have to, so that you have choices. And for everybody else, it is to respect the choices that women make, different choices for themselves. You don't have to agree with those choices. They may not seem right for you, but I mean, women have to make their own choices and their own mistakes. But what happens is financial independence just allows you to explore further, as soon, then you're not forced to stay because of circumstances in a bad marriage, in an abusive marriage, or in an abusive home environment, mental or physical. So, that for me is key. I feel like that's the most basic thing that every woman has to do. If you're a homemaker, you have to make sure, I mean, I don't know how, that the money your spouse is bringing in is also yours equally, because the burden of running a home is disproportionately on women, whether they're working women or not, regardless of that. So financial independence, I think, is the most important thing, that education, financial independence.
That's a fantastic perspective. And as you rightly said, there is a lot of like unpaid labor which happens all the time. And probably because of that, one of the other conversations that's very popular on SHEROES is about self-care. Like how do you prioritize yourself? And we talk about things that women do every day, and would love to know a little bit about you. How do you bring that into your life? It could be something physical, mental, cerebral.
I find the most useful thing is to read. Because I've been an avid reader since I was a child, what happens is that you can escape your own mind for some time. It is so healthy for me, at least. I can't tell you, it helps me so much. If I am, because feelings actually are very transient. Not to say they're not important. Feelings are important, but sometimes we feel irrational things also. Now we're human beings, what to do? We feel things sometimes which may not actually be something that is valid. I mean, today you're very upset about something, tomorrow you may be feeling calmer about the whole thing. So unnecessarily you've gone through a lot, and maybe taken certain decisions when you're worked up, which is not good. It's like taking a decision when you're drunk. It's not an accurate decision, because these things, you have to consider your feelings over time. Is it still valid? Am I consistently feeling something? So I find like a short-term hack is to read, for me, because you can just become somebody else. And I think it's a very healthy thing to escape your own mind from time to time. It builds empathy, because you are putting yourself, in someone else's shoes and becoming someone else and experiencing a different world. And so it gives you a lot of perspective. So that's,
yes, and you can learn so much.
You can learn so much. I feel I've learned much more about history, geography, culture, colonialism from books than I have ever in real life. Not that colonialism is taught in school, it should be, but because it's the basis of so many modern day problems. But yeah, so I personally find reading, and also, of course, I find my relationships with human beings one of the most important things in my life. And so nurturing that and cultivating that. I find alone time very important. If I'm not alone for a few hours in the day, then I'm unable to function properly. I guess these kinds of things.
No, these are amazing.
One more thing I wanted to add, just because it's kind of fun, is that if you can identify a few things that bring you peace or happiness, meaning, fulfillment, and not one thing, or two things, like, oh, if I have this job, then everything's okay, or if I have this partner, then it'll be okay. If you can identify a few things, then you are spreading your eggs, across your baskets, so that, if one thing doesn't work out, you always have some others. And, not to expect everything from one person, whether it's your parent or a spouse or a friend or whatever. You can't expect everything from one person, because from time to time, people who are close to you will disappoint. And you will disappoint them. So it's an ongoing thing, it's like a little give and take and learning, etc.
Yeah, it's a lot about managing yourself, I think. And then you can manage your expectations as well.
Yeah, so maybe like meditating, like 5-10 minutes a day. That's also important, just sitting with yourself. And that's okay. I'm so sorry, but I have been enjoying this so much, and it's okay to feel some bad feelings from time to time. And you don't have to immediately act on them. If you're like going through some things, then you can just sit with yourself and you can sit with those emotions. Those kind of things, in terms of self-care. That's it.
Right. And you also mentioned doing some fun things like maybe dance, or are there any other activities that you love?
I love yoga. I love doing yoga. I have a fantastic yoga teacher, Kalpana Mehta, I've been doing yoga with for many, many years. I put on 20 kgs during my pregnancy, and Vandana and Kalpana really helped me to lose that unhealthy weight that I had gained at that time, because I was on bed rest during my pregnancy, which was just drove me crazy. Yeah, I hope you guys also deal with mothers and their issues in your organization.
Absolutely. Since it is sort of like an online platform, in a way, it's the safest place on the internet for women. So women talk about postpartum depression, breastfeeding, menstruation, things you often can't speak about even in your home, right?
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of that, like if women are getting that voice, and you can even post anonymously, which has a power of its own in a way. So, and of course, reading, like, getting these nuggets from someone like you is really inspiring for women, because you give that issue a voice, right? Anyway, I just want to also say that you are looking fabulous.
Thank you.
And the yellow really is like making your skin glow even more. So I think the yoga and self-care and all of that is
really my stylist, hair, makeup. It's not like I didn't wake up looking like this. Women don't, look there's so much pressure on women to look a certain way. I'm now 42. I feel it's so important to proclaim my age to the world continuously, to say it's okay to be 42. So yeah, so it's with a lot of help. I have like somebody who's helping me with my hair, with my makeup. I have a stylist. So
yeah, I think 40s is the best age for women. I think it's that time when you know what you really want, more or less, and you don't care what other people think. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I've been enjoying my 40s a fair amount. I think definitely more than my 20s. I enjoyed my 30s as well. I just want to own it. I don't know how it's going to be down the line, but I just want to own, I just want to get rid of things that could make me feel insecure. So let's see how that goes. Maybe it'll just get more difficult down the line. I don't know. So I'm always looking to like find older, cooler women, and there are a few. Keep your eyes and ears open. And the other thing is the many things that we go through. Women have already been through these things. Not just women, but like human beings have been through these things before and written about it beautifully. And so we're not alone. And of course, my mom being my greatest example. Because I've just seen her as a very strong woman live her life on her own terms. which has been very inspiring. And it just unconsciously set an example for me that it's possible and I can do it, or I can try.
Absolutely. And I think owning it just makes life better, as you rightly said. So anyway, I just wanted to ask you any message that you might have for a lot of women on our platform, especially like small business owners and, homemakers, first-time internet users. About 70% of them live outside Tier 1. If you have a special message for them, I think it would really inspire them.
I just want to say that I still get nervous before every new project. And I have imposter syndrome. And I have a lot of self-doubt, and I'm scared of many things, and that being brave is a choice, in the sense that about small things and big things, that you're not brave if you're not scared. Because if you were not scared, then anyway, there's nothing to be brave about. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be scared, I feel. It's okay to be nervous, and it's okay to have that self-doubt, and to work on it, and then to kind of still go ahead and do what you want to do, and it's okay to take a small step, and it's okay to take a step back, and it's just an ongoing process. Even I love my character in this show, Chitra Das, did I mention she's a social services director in this hospital, and she's also somebody who's plagued by self-doubt, and she's somebody who doesn't think she's capable and doesn't really believe in herself as much as she should, and we see her eventually behaving with exemplary courage, and so that's quite inspiring for me, and I hope it will be inspiring for many, many more people, and people who have been through very difficult traumatic experiences. I just want to say that your life is not always going to be like this. It's constantly going to change. Sometimes when we go through something bad, we think, oh, this is my life forever. And it's not. And you can just take really, really small steps every alternate day or whatever, and it will change. The good times will go, and so will the bad times.
That's an amazing message. And I think, this character sounds so relatable. I think millions of women are going to relate to, having self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all of that. So I want to wish you all the best for this particular web series, Mumbai Diaries 2611. And personally, I want to say that I'm looking forward to many more authentic, eccentric, funny, endearing roles from you.
Thank you.
And
it's such a pleasure to have a chat with you, an unusual interview. Please do watch my film Gili Pucci if you haven't, because I think that's one of the things that I'm also been proud of.
Putting it on my
list from the LGBTQ community.
Putting it on my list right away, and I'll All right. And I will also talk about it in the community.
Thank you. I hope you all will watch Mumbai Diaries, which is airing on the 9th of September on Amazon Prime.
Definitely we will. And I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Merril. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Bye.
Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.